Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad you're here to do a card with me. My name is Val. I'm a designer for Michaels. I am a project designer, so I get to get paid to craft. Pretty cool job, huh? I'm also going to be teaching some of the winter workshops. So if you have some littles who want to make some cool crafts, make sure they sign on with us then. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. So this is the card that we are going to be doing today. And it's not a terribly difficult card. Try to keep everything simple. If you're not good at measuring, you might struggle a little bit. We're going to we're working in quarters and half inches, so nothing too crazy with the old rulers or the paper trimmer. So we're starting with an A6 card, which is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. If you want to do a different card, you just size it down from there. So there's also going to be there should be a PDF that you can download. Nicole will be putting it up there for you guys to get, and it's just got the measurements on it. So you can refer to this. I also have measurements written on the pieces too. So when we get started, if you guys have questions about that, just holler at me. The thing about the wax seal, so we have these sets for Christmas, and sorry, I've got some reflections coming in from outside. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. And they come with two different stampers, and they just screw on to the handle, so you can switch them out. So the one I used on this card is Joy. They have a piece and some hollies and holly berries, and then I think that there was snowflake. There's a blank one. I'm not really sure what you would do with that, but I'd have to research that. So anyhow, and what we're doing is it's kind of like a wax seal hack, because it takes some practice to get the right size puddle of wax and stamping it right. So what we're doing is we're going to be making our wax seals separately, like this. I made a couple of wax seals, and then we'll peel them off and we're going to glue them on. So that's kind of the hack. If you're confident and brave, you can go ahead and do your wax right on the piece. So anyhow, we will get to that later, that out of the way. But let's go ahead and get started making our card. So we're using this pad, this Peppermint straight pad. It's actually on sale right now. But you can use any papers you want. Just the nice thing about the pads, the Christmas pads, is they have coordinating sheets in there. So you can pick one of 6 different sheets for our little strips here. So I'm going to put this up here and bring this down here. So this is my card. The A6 card measures 5 by 6.5. And you can buy a whole pack of those that come with the envelopes ready to go. So that's our card base. If you don't, you can also make your own card out of white cardstock or any color cardstock. You can just cut it to size, score, and fold. So if you were going to do that, you would cut it 10 inches by 6.5, score it at 5 inches, and hold it in hand. Okay. Then we will have a piece of gold foil cardstock, and that is going to be cut to 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And that's indicated on this sheet it's pointing to the second layer. The first layer is the card. The second layer is the gold foil. And then the third layer are the strips. And what we're going to do with the strips is we're going to cut a piece of cardstock for our strips to glue onto. Okay. And that is 4.5 by 6. So if you like bigger margins around, you can adjust. If you're an experienced card maker, you know how to do that. If you want 1/4 of an inch showing there and 1/4 of an inch showing there, just adjust your measurements that way. But this is these are the measurements for how I did this card. It's basically 1/8 of an inch, roughly, all the way 1/8 of an inch around there, 1/8 of an inch of the gold showing. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the strips. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose 6 sheets of paper from your paper pad. These are the ones that I kind of already cut them down to 6 inches, which is basically just in half. These are the ones that I chose. But you can choose whichever ones you like. And so what we'll do is, so like I said, I cut them already in half to 6 inches. Get this out of the way. And card making, I think that the best tool, the number one tool, if you had to pick one tool for card making, is going to be a paper trimmer. You do a lot of cuts. If you mat things, you're going to do a lot of cuts, and this is going to get you a fast, straight cut rather than cutting by hand. Now, if you're really good with an X-Acto knife and a ruler, you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and cut our strips. They are 3/4 of an inch by 6 inches. And I'm just going to make sure that this is 6 inches. I think I already double checked everything, but yep, okay. So I'm just going to measure at my 3/4 mark. I'm measuring from the cut line to the right. And this is 3/4 right here, 1/4 to 1/2, 3/4 and 1 inch. Get it nice and flush up on the top so that your line is straight, and then trim it down. Then you have your strip. So we're going to do that for all 6 strips. Now, I don't know if you want to, if you all are going to be following me making this, or if you want to watch it and then come back to the recording and make it. I sometimes like to watch it first, kind of see what I'm getting myself into. I do that when I take online classes, or I like to sometimes watching the online class, but this is a fun little, that does not look right. There we go. This is just a fun little card. And if you wanted to make a lot of them, you could just cut all your strips at one time. Do all your cuts and then just do an assembly. This sheet here has a border, and I'm utilizing the border. So like Nicole said, this is being recorded, so you can go back and watch this later and actually make your cards. Okay, so what did I do with mine? Okay, so this is the sheet that the strips are going to go on. So we're going to glue the strips to the sheet, and that's going to make this top part here. And then we're going to wrap the string around this card, and then we'll attach it to the rest of the card. So that's why we're doing it that way. And then when I was making this, I discovered that it was easier to put all of the adhesive down on this piece rather than trying to do each strip. You can do it however you want. You can also use a glue stick. That works fine too. So I'm using just a tape runner, and I'm just going to get some adhesive on here. And then I'm just gonna do some rips down the middle and maybe a few across. That should cover it for us. And then I'm just gonna lay my strips on. We'll start on the left edge and line up the top left corner. The edge. Oops. And then you just butt these up to one another. So 6 strips at 3/4 of an inch comes out to 4.5 inches. And then sometimes you may get a little white showing at the top and bottom. We're going to trim that at the very end. You can do that with your paper trimmer as well. I have discovered today that I think I might be due for a new paper trimmer because some of my cuts aren't exactly perfectly straight. So you can kind of see I've got a little extra here. So I'm just going to trim that off. I'm just going to do a real narrow trim. It helps to have a sharp blade in your paper trimmer. I have the Fiskars trimmer. I know I spec the Recollections trimmer on this. So if you have a different brand, you pretty much probably know how to use it. Okay, so I just kind of cleaned up my edges. It won't affect the borders too much. It's really, really thin. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and adhere our gold foil cardstock to the card front. Oh, that one's empty. Really, I guess I had all old tape runners. Got another one right here. You want to measure 1/8 of an inch from the top and the sides, you can. I like to eyeball. Okay. Now we've got this piece, but we're not going to put it on yet. So what we're going to do with this piece is we're going to take our twine. So I have this real pretty white and gold twine that's it's in the Christmas card making, paper crafting set that you'll see in the store. And I'm going to cut kind of a long piece just so I have enough. Now we're going to just wrap it around. So what I did on this one is I kind of did these 3 lines here. So they're just crisscrossing. So you can kind of wrap it however you want if you just want to do 2. So I'm crisscrossing it as I go. And then you can adjust it after you get it on there. And then one down the middle.
Hey, Val.
Yes.
Sue was curious, is it easier to use glue instead of tape runners so you can adjust the paper sticking down at the right place?
Depends on the kind of glue. A lot of it is really personal preference. So you can use, there's different answers to that. So you could use, if you're going to use a wet glue, I like to stay away from wet glues when I'm card making, because even though they say they're non-wrinkle, I don't have the best of luck with them. So Tombow makes a good one. But most glues, when they're wet on paper, wet glue on paper just doesn't always work real great. So I'm a fan of dry glues when I'm card making or paper crafting, which is going to be a tape runner, a glue stick. So I use a permanent one just because I just always have. When I first started paper crafting and I used removable or repositionable, I felt like my stuff was falling apart, but that's not the case. I know they've improved because that was a long time ago. So you can use a repositionable tape runner as well. And that will allow you to move your strips around, your paper around a little bit. And then after some time, I don't remember what specifically the time is, it's supposed to become more permanent. So you can do that, repositionable. And a glue stick will give you a little bit more time to move things around as well. So I hope I answered that okay. Okay, so that's what we've got for that. Now we can go ahead and put this onto our card. And again, I'm going to eyeball. Okay. Now comes the fun part. All right, let's set all the paper stuff aside so we don't light it on fire. That would just be my luck. The first class with a fire. Okay, so I'm using, this is palette paper. I use this for painting. You pour your paints out on it and you tear the sheet up and throw it away. It's just got a shiny finish on it. You could use parchment paper. You can use freezer paper, wax paper. I mean, you could really use regular paper too. You can tell when I peel these off, I do peel off a little bit of the paper. They don't come off perfectly. but it doesn't matter because as long as you get the paper not showing around the edges, it doesn't matter what the back looks like because that's what you're gonna glue down. So we're basically making seals that we can then put on things. And you can make a seal and put it on your envelope, or you can seal right onto your envelope. So either one works, but because we've made a nice card, I don't want to risk ruining my card by not getting the right shape of the puddle, or you know, maybe dripping somewhere on it. So that's why we're doing this little hack. So we are going to take out, so the wax comes like this. The wax, this is on the Christmas set in the store. Comes like this. There's a gold and like a bronze or copper. I'm going to use the gold. In fact, I'm going to use a new stick so I can show you if you haven't used this before. Now you can get, there's instructions in there, which I did not read. Yeah, it tells you to use scratch paper to test the first wax seal before applying your wax. Light the wax stick and hold it vertically until the wax begins to melt around the base of the wick, and then you're going to tilt the lighted wax slightly horizontally over your area. So the flame should remain 2 to 3 inches above the product at all times. So there's your disclaimer of how not to start your workspace on fire. So I've got a little lighter here, and I'm going to go ahead and light this brand new wax stick. So we're just going to let it burn down a little bit. It's still burning. The wick is still burning here, so you can see. And then when it gets to the wax, it'll start melting. It's, you know, much like a candle.
Val,
Yes.
on the note of the candle, could you possibly use regular candle wax? I had someone ask that in chat.
I don't know. I am thinking that you can try it. I don't think it's going to be quite as opaque as sealing wax. And I think they make sealing wax for a reason, but I honestly don't know. I don't know if the burn rate of that wax is different than the burn rate of this wax. I don't know if, like, when you start dripping it, if it'll harden too fast.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so you could experiment with it, but I think there's a reason why they make sealing wax specifically.
Also, Letty was curious if you could use hot glue with the wax seal after it's cold.
Hot glue with the wax seal. Well, you would have to stamp. Are you talking about stamping
After the
glue?
wax seal has cooled, could you use
Oh,
hot glue as the
yes, that's what
okay, perfect.
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use hot.
Excellent.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. Yep, that we want to make sure it's gonna hold. Plus, what if you look at this card? So I've got kind of a dimensional embellishment in there, and so you really do need to use a hot glue in there because it's pretty thick. Otherwise, I mean, you can use tacky glue or anything like that. It'll just take longer to dry. And so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I like to do this. You can keep the wax dripping in the middle and the puddle will grow that way, but I get impatient and I like to just go around my circle. And don't get too stressed out about it. It's not going to be a perfect circle. If you want a perfect thing, use a sticker or something else. This is an age-old art form. These wax seals, they used these a long time ago. I'm not going to pretend like I know when, but I know they did use these a long time ago. And you know what? They probably used candle wax back then, but it was probably different than our candle wax is now. So I'm making a puddle. What did I do with my seal? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it's about the right. I did do an experiment and I traced around my seal to see if my puddle was big enough, and that was a pretty good idea, and we'll do that next. So blow out your wax, and then you're going to center your stamp over the center of it and then press. Now it's going to ooze out, and that's kind of the beauty of that's the beauty of it. And you can see it's not perfect. I mean, my wax oozed out that way instead of all the way around. And that's also another reason why I like just doing different ones. I got this like bubble here, but I mean, that still looks okay. You can see they're all different. But let's go ahead and draw a little circle around just to see what that works like. I'm just kind of drawing a circle around that, just like that. Now I'll relight this. Now with some of the lighter colors, after you've done a few of them, you might get soot. That's happened to me when I've tried to use a white. You get the soot from the burning of the wick. I think trimming your wick, if your wick gets too long, that might be why you get some soot. Now they do make, I don't know if we sell it anymore, but there used to be, we may sell it. There used to be glue stick, wax sticks for your glue gun, if that makes sense. So your hot glue gun melts the wax. And that way you avoid the flame. I don't know how they compare to this, but this is kind of fun. It's always kind of fun to see what your seal is going to look like after you stamp it. And that's why I like this hack, because you can make 5 of them and you might only like one of them. Or you might like the differences in each one. But they're not meant to be perfect. I have seen wax seals that you can buy the seal like these, but I imagine they're machine made because they're all about the same, or maybe they're molded or something. All right, I'm gonna fill my circle in over here and over here. Always blow your flame out or you set it down. This one might be kind of cool. Yeah, that one turned out pretty good. So I've got a couple of good ones that I'm happy with. I think we'll use this one. So again, like I said, you can keep practicing as long as you have wax. And this wax, I mean, we used, let's see. So we didn't use all that much to make 2 seals. So you can kind of see how you've got quite a few seals out of a wax stick. All right, so I'm going to peel this one up. I'm going to let it cool for a minute. Let's get our card back over here. So we've got these little leaf guides. You can use, if you've got other things, you want to try to use, maybe a piece of greenery, if it's not too three-dimensional. This is pretty flat. You could cut some embellishments out. You could cut them out with your Cricut, or there's a lot of different things you can do. This was my best shot at something that we sell that I thought would look nice with this card. So I'm tucking it behind my strings just to sort of keep it in place. So now you can see how it's kind of dimensional there. I've had my glue gun heating up. So I'm going to peel. Oh, that did not. Okay, well, I ruined that one. That one does not want to come up. Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't let it cool quite enough. It was still a little mushy on the sides. The thicker spots were kind of mushy. I'm going to use this one because this one did dry better. But yeah, so if you've got some of these thicker spots, you can see where this kind of pulled up. So it's gonna take those are gonna take a little longer to cool and harden. So we're gonna use this one. And I've got my glue gun here, and I'm just gonna put my glue right onto the seal. And then I'm going to stick it down. It did sort of remelt the wax. It didn't, that's the first time it did that for me. So you do have to be careful. Kind of, I guess maybe in the thin spot, the heat from the glue did melt the wax a little bit, but that's the first time I've done like 3 or 4 of these, and it's the first time it's done that for me. So just be careful with that. So that's my hack, my sealing wax hack. So have fun with the wax seals. They're just a neat way to make an embellishment. And like I said, then you can also use it on to seal your envelope closed. That's how they traditionally were used. Just seal it on the back flap, and that one maybe I would just go ahead and do my wax right on the envelope and stamp it. So that is that. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
We do have a couple of questions
Okay.
about if you could possibly use wax beads to do the stamping.
Wax beads for that, like scented wax beads for a melter, or?
I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, okay. So I know that there are some kind of wax, and maybe they are beads that you put in some kind of a melter, and then you have a little scoop and you pour your wax that way. You can use that. I would say anything that's made for sealing wax. I can't speak to the candle part of it, or to a non-sealing wax. I would say play around with it, try it, just experiment with it. But I have a feeling that the sealing wax has maybe a little bit more open time.
And then
Yeah.
someone else
Go ahead.
asked, sorry about that. Someone else asked about, could you use glitter or embossing powder to stick to the wax?
Yeah, I don't know why not. Embossing powder, it would melt. It would melt in the hot wax. So I don't think it would stick to your stamp, but that would be something you could try. Glitter, I think you for sure could. Just get your wax puddle sprinkle. Yeah, I think you sure could do that.
And then one last question.
Uh-huh.
We've got a, what about do you know anything about the post office and sending and how that works?
So this one is a little thicker. Traditionally, when I have a card that has some dimensional embellishments, I've always been told that it's been a while since I've said this and heard this, but I've always said, ask them to hand stamp it. This I think would go through their machine just fine. And I don't think it would, their machines, I guess they're automated machines, just like a roller thing it goes through. I don't think this particular thing would be a problem because it's not too thick. I think it just depends on how thick your embellishments go. But I think it's always probably, if you're doing handmade cards, I'd ask them to hand stamp it. I wouldn't take a chance of something getting ripped or crushed going through their automated machines.
That makes sense. And then we have someone else who's asked if you need to wait a few moments before using the stamp, or can you do it while it's still hot? Like how?
No, you do want to do it while it's hot. So
Okay.
I was reading the instructions specifically say, let me just read this to you guys. So I said, tilt the lighted wax stick horizontally directly over the area you wish to make your seal. The flame should remain 2 to 3 inches above the product at all times. Then it says, slowly rotate the wax stick to avoid soot particles and allow an even burn of the wax. I did not do that, so that's probably a good tip, but I didn't get soot either. So that could be why I was getting soot on the white ones. Then it says, let the wax drip naturally until the wax pool is slightly smaller than the size of the stamp being used or to the desired amount. So you saw when I drew that circle, it was about the right amount, honestly. I think it depends on how thick your puddle gets, but I think once you achieve the size, the circular size, go ahead and stamp it. And then it says, firmly press the sealing stamp onto the wax pool and hold the stamp in place for 3 to 5 seconds. Then gently lift the sealing stamp straight up from the wax. And then allow the sealed wax imprint to dry and cool completely before touching or handling. So yeah, so you want to stamp it as soon as you make the puddle while it's still hot. And then you don't want to touch it until it's good and cooled off. Like I said, you just saw what I did on that one where the thicker part was still a little wet. Now it's dry and it's still pliable, but I did kind of ruin it when I pulled it up. So, and it depends too, if you like, I have yet to really do one where I got an equal, what do you want to call it? Equal smooch, where the wax comes out. I have yet to get one where it comes out evenly on all sides. So just play around and don't expect perfection on it. It's not really what the medium is intended to do. And if you're really brave, go ahead and just pour your wax right on your card and stamp it that way. What I don't know is, because you know what, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that for this card, because I think if you had wet hot wax and you pressed on here, you're going to get more of an impression here and less on the sides, because it's on top of a dimensional thing. So I actually think the way we did it with those sealing wax pack is probably the right way to do it. Are there any other questions? You guys have any cutting questions or gluing questions or general card making questions? We kind of went through this pretty quick.
Amber was wondering if you could possibly go back through the layering of the once you've cut out the strips of paper,
Okay.
and just kind of how that was, and the twine again, if we
Okay.
have time, since we are still
Yeah,
early.
we've got plenty of time. So let me just get some things. I think I've got a piece of cardstock here. My little cheat sheet. What happened to it? All right, we're done. What do with my? Okay, I moved everything because I didn't need it anymore. Well, there it is. I put it down on my trash can. Okay, so let's go. Let's do the piece that the strips go on, and that was 4.5 by 6. So I'm going to cut out a piece of cardstock. First, when I did this, I thought maybe I just use paper, but it's really nice to have cardstock so that you can hold it and the string doesn't, squash your paper. Okay, so this is close to 6. We're just going to fudge it. 6 by 4.5. Okay. So then we're going to cut our strips. I thought I had some pre-cut ones, but I don't. So we'll just cut some more strips, 3/4 of an inch by 6 inches. One of those crafters who, if you give me 5 tables to spread out on, I will use every inch of those tables. So bear with me because I've thrown things all over the place. Oh, they're on the floor. How about that? One, two, three, 4. 5. That's the last one. Yes, and 6. Okay, so there's the strips. And which one is it? What I have? Yeah, it's this one. Okay, and here's my cardstock. So what I did was I went ahead and put my adhesive on this base, so you're not having to handle your strips. And then I just lined them up flush with the edges, left, right, and top and bottom. And then just butt them up to each other. I picked this paper pad because this is I love this one. And it's kind of like The Night Before Christmas, but it reads a little different, I think. I like the words, so then that was why I picked that. Okay. Then I took my paper trimmer and I just sort of trimmed off my edges. Now I know I fudged with this cardstock base, so my goodness gracious. I'm going to you can see what happened here. I don't know. I'm not sure I don't think the base is crooked, so I'm not really sure what happened. So I'm just going to compensate for that. So I know that this edge is straight, so I'm going to use that as my guide, and I'm just going to trim. So there's that. Now I'll show you the string part again. So we've just got, this is just twine. It's gold threaded. It's white twine with a gold threading going through it. So it's pretty thin. And I just cut kind of a long, oh, sorry. I cut kind of a long piece with it. And so I'm just holding the card in my hand. And I'm just giving myself enough to be able to tie on the back here. And I'm just going to wrap it. I'm going to angle it like that. Then I'm going to come and I'm going to angle it the other way. See how I made that kind of like an X? And then I'm going to go through the middle. And don't pull it too tight so your card's not bending up. And then you're just going to tie a knot in the back. And then trim off the excess. And then you can manipulate your little strings how you want them, get your center. I hope that helped. And then obviously I didn't cut the other pieces, but then you're just going to attach this to that. Does anybody want to see anything else? No, we good?
It looks like we're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching along with me. I hope you have fun making your Christmas cards. And I hope you learned something with the sealing wax, something maybe you hadn't done before. When I first started playing around with it again, I think I might have played around with it when I was a little kid. Not a kid, but like in the 70s. So anyhow, you guys, if you do some cards and you want to, I'd love to see what you do. You can put them on our Instagram page or Facebook page and do a hashtag Make It With Michaels, and we'll see them. And no, I did not mention a card kit. I don't think we have actual, I shouldn't say that. I am not 100% sure if we have card kits, but we have a lot of things that all go together. So if you go find it's usually in an aisle in the store, the Christmas paper crafting, I call it a grid because it's a 4-sided fixture. And the actual cardstock pads are on a separate fixture, but in the store I was in, it was right next to it, but it's also on a 4-sided grid. And you'll see everything that kind of goes together. There are cards that have borders on them. Card sets, blank card sets that you can use that have borders on them. They're real nice. And then there's die cuts that come in a pack. And I think there's going to be some other classes that utilize some of that stuff. So just go, get into the store and look and see what we've got, see what you just have to have for this year, and have fun paper crafting. I love paper, and you guys must too, because, oh, look, somebody made something. All right. Awesome. Oh, she's got a star. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see what you do, and happy card making. We'll see you next time. Bye.